I'm sending you a note because of an observation I've made. And an observation I've been making for many, 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 many years. And this observation is, I think, our society's competency is actually down at the typing grade 8 of Darwin might have just reached his conclusion with what just happened with the formal impeachment. However, here's what I'd like, why I'm reaching out to public radio, and on this in this exercise, I'd like to discuss the concept of James Ussher with respect to our theory of origin, just with you, with where we're at. I'm sending you a very friendly email. I'll explain why. I'm a James Ussher chronologist. I'm work of a group of us are working together in order to determine what we could do to turn the Bible off because of the James Ussher chronology, which is Ussher deduced October 23rd, 4004 BC. So with this deduction, we have a date range on the Bible. So what was also deduced? That Darwin would never be provided an explanatory explanation as, well, you receive common ancestry. Absolutely, you evolved. But what my research has been evolved to grow up to become, that's the key words. It's not change, wiggle into, and contort from a lumpy cave person into a hunched over, beard guzzling modern caveman. It is actually, what did we consider different during that period of time? So, what I've been considering for National Public Radio for many, many years is the relationship. I reached out to Ira Glass also on this is all about evolution. It needs to come out. Here I am explaining in this particular note. I can use my dog and the Darwin's theory committed to memory. And when I compared my Yorkshire Terrier to his weird Yorkshire Terrier behaviors, there was nothing in those exotic changes that convinced me an ape ever once invented writing, according to the modern theory of evolution, right? Human evolution is the evolutionary process. So, human evolution itself, things changing, mutating, is the evolutionary, things changing. So, the evolution process, the process of the process to evolve, not stand up and say, we could turn this one off by saying, I bet you great apes did not grow up to be typing on Facebook. So that was kind of this weird exercise while I was really thinking, how would I use this on Facebook? And why am I reaching out to uh, Spokane Public Radio asking for, just hear me out, Kennewick Man, 9,200-year-old fossil remain. So the please hear me out. This is how I'd like to present why I need to just say, National Public Radio, please listen to me very, very. I'm not religious. I'm not anything. However, I am going to discuss the Bible. The James Ussher chronology is a scientific, date related. Oh, the world's still here. What would have happened if we disassembled it? Maybe we would conclude that James Ussher was incorrect and go with NASA data. So you can see how this is a very sensitive, just heartwarming introduction. I'd like to explain what we're doing together by reaching out. So I'm not alone. I'm with the group of us James Escher chronologists. However, rather that we're of the Baptist descendancies where we gathered together our clan to go through our Baptist material and figure out why we retained the James Escher as an illusion. Because working together, I was able to isolate Kennewick Man, 9,200-year-old fossil remain. So asking Spokane Public Radio to ask the community what we erased also in that area, because I am quite positive I did not grow up from a grape ape to ask this question from my Chromebook that evolved. Yet, no, I was in the Silicon Valley when we broke it for lack of planning. God planned to handle it. So I will be discussing the Bible. The Bible is a medieval manuscript, 100% sealed with the James Escher chronology. That is the buzzer of, oh, we've gone too far. So we're working together to gather the data. We've taken this religion too far. And in taking this religion too far, we're taking accountability together as a team. And I'm reaching out to Spokane Public Radio to consider working with us while we isolate our pockets. My isolated pocket is 9,200-year-old Kennewick Man. My partners uh, elsewhere on the internet that we're working together on this and will stay in union. And I'm taking control of this. Oh, where do I place all of these James Usher chronological people mistaken for evolving from apes, according to the theory of evolution, Spokane Public Radio? That's what I'm asking for your help. Right here, I'm looking at Kennewick Man, so I know all around all the tribes. Imagine the tribal relationship we'll build by having a man come in and say, I am actually sorry we kept a 6,000-year legend church on the Yakima Indian Reservation. And I would like to make amends to the local Spokane tribes and apologize for that to these people and just say I'm sorry and say Mr. R. Rush is his father's name was David. If there's any weird things with the Christians, who I'm trying to take the Bible away from that and turn it back into an oral tradition, like we should have approached them before we shaved their heads, and we just brutally were wrong when we came here with the James Escher eyes wide shut, a symptom in the Spokane region also still present, because the earth is obviously older than 6,000 years. If I've picked out Kennewick Man, 9,200-year-old fossil remain, I'm taking responsibility, and I'm asking Spokane's Public Radio to work with me with GotQuestions.org Ministries, a Baptist related subset of what we're trying to work with here to take care of this. So I'd like to bring you into our little triune relationship so I can, over the next months, gather the pocketed, and I will gather the data I don't need going through my brain. We're pinpointing it through the Bible and not through Darwin. We're going through a long time ago. Apes didn't grow up to become us. We indicated that, proven it by conversing with the modern great apes and the modern zoos, and deduced that we only had 500 or 500,000 of them left, and none of them had any capacity to magically grow fingers to write with as we have, as Darwin did not present when he said, let us compare. So we're comparing together, and I'm comparing these people that did not evolve into me. Rather, I'm saying we erase our responsibility, Spokane. We, the James Usher chronologists, eyes wide shut groups, actually erased our responsibility. It's our responsibility to nationally, publicly admit this, and I'm asking for your help for this National Public Radio. The year is 2020. We just saw everything in our government as with, well, puppets, yeah, and with what's the year 2020, and I'm asking to just say, let me stop everything for a little bit while we say it's finished. We can turn off the Bible, be in honor of erasing the memory of Kennewick Man, giving us scientific evidence that James Escher provided us a weird hallucination. And I need to discuss how this weird hallucination of time was we refused to return back and look at what everything we're doing. So we just had National Public Radio. We haven't discussed it. We just had two puppet. Whether or not you liked him, I don't care. I voted for Sanders in the entry. Whether or not you liked him, I don't care. I voted for Trump in the main. Whether or not you liked her, I just didn't like a third time. Would have been morally obligating wrong for the Clintons to be in our country, with great apes growing up to be typing on Facebook, and great apes to be the office people at National Public Radio. And Ira Glass. The one I sent to Great Ape. Ira, could you help me with this one, please? This is This American Life Story. Ira Glass. Great Apes grew up to me, became typing on Facebook. I don't buy that one. Can you help me with this? It's because of the James Escher chronology. Spokane Public Radio, will you please help us solidify this so we can, if we can close the Bible by identifying, oh, we're sorry about not admitting that we kind of did bad things to the Yakima Indian nations, for example, forgetting where they came from and thinking those were apes that grew up to become us rather than the royalty that they are with the Red Road. And we can protect our dams. We can clean up our Columbia River Basin. That thing we need to discuss a 1,000-year configuration management plan on the border wall that I personally don't think we needed, but neither here nor there. We need to discuss a lot. We need to discuss the years 2020, and the years 2020. We're joined together as former Baptists, pulling the Bible apart in order to reconcile it for the James Escher chronology, and we'd like to take this public, please. So would you please help me locally for our local Indian tribes, just to get out with this special, just wait, this is Darwin. Yes, I will explain how to close the theory of Darwin with my dog, a Yorkshire Terrier, a registered Yorkshire Terrier, and I will do that on air. Very simple from memory. In 1859, it was 20 years before the light bulb, and none of the bullshit that they've got in all their super spooky stuff, all of their stuff wiggled and viggled because it was older than the James Escher chronology. They got it backwards. And they flattened that they were wrong and never once returned to confirm 160-year-old theory. They're still teaching it is as apes rather than apes invented writing in the year 3500 BC, erasing the Sumerian texts. National Public Radio. That erasure of Darwinian illusions of apes growing up to become me, type it, top it, look at me. I've never had to. That's my Facebook thing. Hey, look at us. We could probably convince the Pope that the Pope is medieval right here on Facebook if we just say it's his fault that the God cursed us to say apes grew up to become Kennewick Man. We're sorry. Spokane Public Radio. I'd like to do a series of things like that with you, please. And I would like to reach out to Ira Glass to turn my willingness to work with these guys, their willingness to work with us, into the capacity that we could actually together underneath the wire, not making a big deal, not put an end to evolution because everything's evolving, right? But we can stop it from not being calculated any longer. We've never once calculated the beginning of writing of all things on this unwritten, highly evolved, highly sophisticated grade 8 typings on Facebook in the year 2020, $250 trillion in debt hallucinations, 22 trillion delusions. Can I help you out a little bit, please? We're willing to work together. The year is 2020. And we will close the Bible based on the appropriate locations for, okay, these are erasure spots because of the James Escher chronology, October 23, 4004 BC, and we will end that Jewish legend for just in see how it's Jesus himself was actually a false Messiah, a 6,000-year earth Messiah, to be taken off of that false Christ, false whatever. He wasn't murdered. There's something else that went wrong, such as utilizing the exact same resources that those who knew that the earth was older than 6,000 years, blending this everything. Apes grew up to become typing on Facebook in the year 2020. I don't buy that. Here's my dog. Never, ever, ever, ever stopped to ponder publicly in one sitting the consequence of not understanding the scientific beginning of the first record of writing, 500 BC, and what that meant with the Sumerian texts, and the data transferred between evolution to abuse to we did not grow up from apes to act like cave people living in high-rise buildings. National Public Radio, do you understand this request, please? Not religious, not scientific. However, click on the James Escher chronology, goes click on Darwin at the same time in one publication. And the false Messiah that tricked us to make it so simple gave us something else. National Public Radio. He gave us a historical account of something. And a 6,000-year earth hallucination. It's nothing but an illusion that our church systems are not mentally ill, sort of. With public preaching, it's a style, actually. It's what we do. It's how we use it. Eyes wide shut. Earth is 6,000 years old. We'll do whatever the fuck we want. National Public Radio. And Christians, that's exactly what we've been doing. So when Kennewick Man, 9,200-year-old fossil remain, was older than the James Escher chronology, didn't make any sense to the apes grew up to evolution paleontologists, old guys who need to kind of write the retirements for $250 trillion in debt, removing the apes grew up to become me pictures typing on Facebook, because all we've got now for the next generation is pictures of what we got wrong. We're at that point in world history. National Public Radio. And we as Baptists would like to help. However, in an organized fashion, not in a religious fashion, and we're going to reach out and apologize for not taking responsibility for the local areas we erased, such as Kennewick Man, where a 9,200-year-old fossil remain there on the Yakima Indian Reservation. My young Earth, 6,000 year Earth legend teacher, I'm asking you to publish this so he will hear this is his final he will never preach again. Eyes wide shut to his refusal to discuss with me Kennewick Man, 9,200-year-old fossil remain. So I'm asking National Public Radio to do this for me so we can record it and send it to him, please. And it is entirely, it's not religious, it's just, is you're done with your 6,000-year hallucination. You're done with your apes evolved into you hallucination at the same time, according with what I'm asking us to work together for his retirement. Thanks for your church. Is set up for Kennewick Man now, and we're going to make a deal with Spokane to do some reach out to Idaho, do that for all the local tribes. Will you please help me? Help us. Help God Questions.org Ministries, a Young Earth Creation Facility. I'm on the opposite side. They're on the 6,000 year side. I'm on the no. And we're working together to conclude the Bible to say we're both no. And just say we're done with it. National Public Radio. In honor of our acceptance of this is necessary to do for Kennewick Man and National Public Radio. It's also necessary to do for Australian Aboriginal who have remained there for 65,000 years. So how many young Earth creationist people are not even familiar with that, but know where Australia is? Ira Glass was a question I would have posed to your people. How many? This has me on Facebook asking the same questions. National Public Radio, will you please help us? Will you please help us communicate that we don't want to make a big deal about it. We're working as a team, but we're closing the Bible because of the James Escher Eyes Wide Shut chronological disorderment of time, and discuss what that means. Thank you, National Public Radio. I want this public. I want this logo where it needs to be because it's for our local Kennewick Man. It's for our local tribes. I want to form better relationships with them because we need a better partnership with our local tribes when I am reaching out to you to help me in this one instance use this as a communication to begin a simple, we're going to move it down. Figure out what to do with it. However, this is for my father's church. His name is David. And it is for his elder pastor's retirement necessity. So we're willing to put it like that for Tim with a little bow. And ask you to, Spokane Public Radio, please help us consider and move out on a few of these ideas that we're working with, because 65,000 years, 60,000 years, yeah. However, what was the consequence with 65,000 years, 9,200 years? What else did we get while apes were growing up to evolve writing in the year 3,500 BC? National Public Radio. That's why things aren't too much TV. We need to revitalize National Public Radio. It can be done right here using this little. Imagine out of Spokane for the Spokane, for the Yakima, our tribal relationships, please. On the east side of Washington State, let this come from Zola. Let this be local. I want when I'm reaching out from Having been an entire lifetime James Escher chronologist and known it has always been wrong, and we finally worked together to collapse it to become just the dust that it is, which is 6,000-year legend, National Public Radio. I want to reach out to the Spokane tribe. I want that to go out to the Yakima tribe, and I want similar to let them know we are sorry, and this is what we're gonna just do nothing to do, but because of we are concluding even a website together, and we are concluding a church. One, we're using the website to conclude the Bible communication through our organizations in order that we can do what's necessary for our organizations. With that request and communicate it publicly through you, please. Thank you. My name is Mr. R. Rush. I'm the son of David, and I'm all of the really weird 1666 things in this note is very difficult to explain, but it's the wisdom that got us to the point where I'm able to explain I'm sorry, this is Darwin as our theory of origin that caused Kennewick man not to be recognized as the royalty as he should have been. 9,200-year-old fossil remain, but rather they presented Kennewick man as the hunched over caveman with the Darwinian illusion of God likes us. Typing great apes on Facebook is what I got. I don't think God likes us. With winded management writing 3,200 BC, 3,500 BC in a range when an oral tradition for our Indian nations is all we need. And all we needed to say for the Christians to not do what they did, and I'm so sorry, it was that the white Jewish Jesus guy, the white Jesus 6,000-year Earth guy who erased Kennewick man, who erased the legitimacy of Australian Aboriginal relationships because of who erased these. The 6,000-year-old Jewish legend guy that the white guys kept, we're sorry. In America, we'd like to go publicly, we're sorry, and take him off the cross and say that was a bad Jewish legend. 6,000 years. NASA, would you please agree? And then kind of open our eyes at that moment. Please, National Public Radio. We're working together in order to, if world peace is not possible, it's because we refuse to look at what just happened. Please, National Public Radio. I'm coming to you with this really weird. The numerical coding of this email is the Bible was medieval, timed on perfect, and it's intended for the healing relationships of no. That 6,000-year legend in Toppenish, Washington is no longer present, and it will no longer be present in the Spokane region either because we're not making a big deal about it socially. Rather, we're just saying we are going to explain to the 6,000-year legend teachers science does not agree with them. Therefore, their 6,000-year science church buildings is not correct, and that they should not be teaching a false Jewish legend that could easily be taken off that false Jewish nasty blood thing with $250 trillion in debt. And we're sorry, National Public Radio, we're sorry. Kennewick man, we're sorry. Australian Aboriginal, we're sorry. And with that consideration, we're sorry. All that weird Jewish 6,000-year-old illusion was on that thing was a record of a murder. And so when in Matthew chapter 5, verse 1, it says, I saw the multitudes, I went up the mountain, I sat down, my disciples came to me. Somebody elsewhere read it different, said the Sermon on the Mount. It wasn't a sermon. A 6,000-year medieval magic proofing sermon is not a sermon. When I saw the multitudes, I saw Kennewick Man, 9,200-year fossil remains, and my heart bled out to that erasure. When I saw Australian Aboriginal 65,000 years, my heart bled out for that erasure. When I saw the uh, immaturity of, oh yeah, we got our pop culture president immediately pitched, good job, he built us a wall, yeah, yay, we had 2 airplanes flying into buildings in New York, one landing in Washington DC, was building us a wall, yay, and they impeached him. But I liked him, and that was a bunch of malarkey. That was just, he had to be impeached. But, the the year is 2020, he had to be impeached, I guess. We need world peace capacities, which is what just happened. We just erased Kennewick Man from the Bible. We're willing to take the Bible away because of that. Because God said, us working as teams, let us make man in our image. And we want this to go out through the Native American community orally, through public radio. I'd like to begin with Spokane Public Radio because of the tribal relationships, where I have Yakima tribal relationships coming from Zilla, and then they will be our internet gateway to Australia. So we'll take care of all of that. Just working with me and you for any opportunities for broadcast. It would be simple. We'll do it together. They'll observe. We're working as a team, and I'll send you these notes, and you can play them, please, and just give them away. My lectures, here's what we did here. Okay, we thought this evolved up to us. Yeah, what else? So, um, yeah, when we evolved writing in the year 3500 BC, rather than St. James Escher provided us a really simple shut-off point for the Bible, because of Kennewick Man, 9,200-year-old fossil remain, and because of Australian Aboriginal 65,000 years. And because of that presence, National Public Radio, I'm reaching out to you saying, please accept more of an apology. Please, would you please coordinate with me to create some broadcasts for this particular series so we can work together and come up with the larger, more dynamic? We have Neolithic people all over the place. Why did we think they evolved to become us? We have to kind of capitulate where they're from. 6,000-year Earth legend. Neolithics all over us. That's why my granddaughter looks. Let me confirm for you. $22 trillion of hallucinations, that we make good decisions and we teach our children in picture format that this family once was a group of great apes. I got my cute little Neolithic. I've got a Neolithic braid, and they look like, I don't have to worry about my posture, but I'm more like George Washington. So I'd like them to understand that, that's Neolithic posture. Because when did this little Neolithic family evolve writing? Well, 500 whole years after, with the bad Jewish legend of the medieval magic proof 6,000 years ago. National Public Radio, and it's really just more of a, we're sorry, can you please help us clean up with where we erased that people were there before the 6,000-year illusionists came around. Thank you. It will be a series of long, and probably, well, I ramble so much we could make it into almost a daily thing. For me, rambling for an hour, you could just accept my rambles and post them live, and we'll work together on the major big cliffhanging ones and communicate those. And but we're trying to, no more Darwin in Zilla, please, because Kennewick Man didn't evolve from apes. Please, will you help us, National Public Radio? Thank you. That will help really help a lot of things. And finally, finally, that would actually be the final judgment. World peace, National Public Radio, if we pulled that one off. Together, unified. We already have everything set up for this capacity. Facebook, I'm going to conduct a jihad on Facebook and have everyone look in their faces. Our apes typing on Facebook. 2020, come on, National Public Radio, please help me. Thank you.